Hi, this is Duff WA7DFN, and welcome to This is LICW, a look at what's new, noteworthy, and happening in the Long Island CW Club for September 2025. Quentin K7DRQ, for as far as I can remember during NV1U, which was a few years back anyway, you have been an advocate of something I like to call PTPD. Put the pen down. And now with basically the Project OverLearn taking off, of course, this has become somewhat of a reality, I guess, into your endeavors. Would you think?
I think so. The Project OverLearn is some fantastic work by some great folks. I'm going to say thank you, first of all, because they've really done a great job. It's beginning to put into concrete terms what we've been saying in NV1U for years, which is, hey, don't work so hard. Let the subconscious do it. Put the pen down and trust that it will happen. And I know that this is super difficult because the first time you do that, you're going to crash and burn. I crashed and burned for a long time, but trust the process and it kind of comes to you.
I guess it's going to be slower or faster for some folks, I guess, as it goes along, as you assimilate into this thing, to where it goes on. I've noticed I went through the boot camp, the first one out the door there, which was absolutely great. Tom and those guys did a phenomenal job. But what I've noticed, through that training over there, is now that I've kind of tossed that aside and the pen aside, we're not worrying about it, now things are starting to appear, a little faster as it goes along. So, and that's a difficult process. How would you overcome that? I mean, how have you seen it?
Oh, boy. For me, I've met people who are very good at this idea of getting the conscious brain out of the way, and some people who really struggle with it. And some of that is just going to be a little bit of blind faith, I'm afraid, which I don't like to say as a scientist, but there's something there. The rest of it is going to be to do with trying not to get frustrated, practicing diverse things so you're not always listening to the same thing. And one of the big strengths of OverLearn is this kind of less text and more random characters. So we're training what we used to call ICR, what we're now calling TTR, time to recognize.
Right.
And we're marrying that with this concept of let go a little bit more.
Just kind of sitting back, letting it go, and letting it kind of work itself into it, as it goes along. How long did it take you to get to that point? Just curious.
When I was in John St. John's class at about 12 words a minute when I decided to put down the pen. And I had a friend in there, Rob, who he was a scientist too. He worked at SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
Oh, really?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we would kind of commiserate every week in class around how hard it was to drop the pen and how it would be so much easier to pick it up again, but we were staying strong.
Yeah.
And then one day we just found ourselves having a rag chew, the two of us, talking about the rings of Saturn with no pen in sight. And it was that moment it really hit me that, wow, this is working, and it feels just like chatting as opposed to homework.
Yeah.
How long that took? Several months, certainly.
Yeah.
But it really sneaks up on you sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to tell that you're making that progress.
Yeah. TTR, that was the biggest point for. I think the biggest thing for me during the boot camp was the fact of just letting go, because I just found myself beating myself over the head every time I missed this thing, and I'm trying to dwell on it and going from there. All of a sudden, I just said, the hell with it, kind of toss it out the door and just sat back over there. Sometimes I even fell asleep, but I imagine there's some subconscious thing going on there someplace, and that's, I think, the biggest thing that I probably got out of the boot camp over from there. If you were to advise somebody, getting going with this, with the boot camp and with the Project OverLearn, what would you give them as advice for picking this up? Because it's a big change. It's a big change in the concept. What would you give them?
It's a big change in concept and also in the way LICW teaches. We've always had this relaxed, come to class when you want, progress at your own pace attitude, which I stand by. I think it works very well. Right. But complementing it with a more strict regimen of training, I think my first piece of advice is stick to that. Do the homework, attend the classes, do the thing at home. And then there's just going to have to be this. It's going to frustrate people more for me to say, "Hey, don't get frustrated."
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I have a good advantage personally in that I don't have like an inner monologue, an inner voice in my head. I don't hear anything
Sure.
there.
Right.
And I don't have a mind's eye either. I can't see
Uh-huh.
pictures in my head.
Right.
And people are on the spectrum between full and not at all. And I think if you have none of that and your head is just dead silent, it's
You're
easier to
better off.
just drop it and keep moving.
Just keep moving along. Sure.
And the people who have this constant evaluating voice, it's like, oh, you
Oh,
messed
yeah.
up here. You did that wrong.
Oh,
Oh, what was that?
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Just take a deep breath and try to push that away
Yeah.
and channel the Zen.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to incorporate that into my intermediate class, and it's I think, going quite well. There is some resistance, shall I say, to it. So, I guess it's basically try. Dip your toe in there, make it go.
Just doing a little bit here and there. You don't have to go all in all the way. And in fact, the intermediate curriculum tries to bring you into that head copy and dropping the pen slowly.
Right.
Um, I think anytime a teacher tells you to do something that makes it worse for you, there's going to be some resistance.
Oh, sure.
The reality is it has to be worse before it can get better.
Yeah, that's right. Quentin, thank you very much for your insights. Appreciate that, and thank you for everything you do for the club. And
Thanks a lot, Duff.
You bet.
Take care.
Well, if you're just getting started in CW, or you know your characters and you feel ready to get on the air, or you might have been around for a long time but just need a little boost to get your confidence going on the air. Well, a great number of the Long Island CW classes focus on sending and receiving, but essential operating subject is a bit different. And headed up by Cathy, W4CMG. What's it all about, Cathy?
Essential operating subjects originally started out as a different class called Reaching Your CW Goals. And I was a former project manager before I decided to retire, and that didn't go so well, the retirement part, because I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
But very goals-based individual, and I found that people work better if they've got something to strive for, because otherwise you get into the someday aisle and then they never get it done.
Sure.
Okay. Eventually, we decided that we would change the name to Essential Operating Subjects. And Anthony, KZT, also teaches his version of Essential Operating Subjects. A little bit different teaching approach, but essentially the same premise. And that is that when people learn how to send their characters, maybe start to copy their characters, they think they're ready to get on the air.
Right.
They might not know how to approach it.
Yeah.
And, it's really scary to get on the air.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Sweaty palms and everything else over there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
your fingers start sticking to the paddles or whatever. And I can relate because I've gone to CW Academy, made it through intermediate, thought I was all that, and tried to get on the air. And discovered that I had no clue. What I was doing is, sending what I thought would be a very common exchange. And for the most part, when you get on the air with CW, you hear the RST, you'll hear the location, then the name, and then if it's a club exchange, you might exchange a club number.
Right.
And people are just accustomed to hearing, 599 Tennessee.
Ta-da.
Well, I
Right.
sent 599 Cathy, Cathy. He heard CA and locked into, I was in California. What the heck is a THY for a name?
Yeah.
And so, I found that I couldn't be the only person who struggled with that.
Right.
So with Essential Operating Subjects, we actually cover things that folks might not know when they start to get on the air.
Sure.
And it could be anything from how do I practice to get on the air? How do I operate split? What the heck are all these abbreviations and when do I use them?
Sure.
And then other things like busted calls when we talk about that. Different clubs, different practice programs. How to find people on the air.
Right.
How do you find an RBN spotter? How to use it effectively?
Oh, yeah,
Things of that
absolutely.
nature.
Yeah.
So a lot of things you're not going to learn in your typical CW class.
Yeah.
And and the class morphs.
So how do you have the various class members or people that show up? Do they offer like questions or something that they may have to explore or something like that?
Well, we usually start out with a curriculum, and I follow a pretty organized structure as far as weekly. Start them out with things like different tools that they can practice with, different logging programs so that they can log, how to find people to get on the air. But we always start every session, and it feels almost like a social hour for people that aren't used to it.
Oh, sure.
Because we will sit there and talk about what they accomplished. Maybe they got on the air and had their first QSO, or activated a park, or got some new equipment. And it just helps to set the tone for, what have you been up to? And sometimes different experiences that people have.
Sure, absolutely.
They wind up actually taking more than the actual formal content. So I've learned to cut back the formal content a little bit, because somebody will ask a question, and I am not the all-knowing, all-seeing, but I provide a forum for them to ask other people.
Oh, sure. And you get the experiences, of course, of all the people, the participants over there, which basically is, absolutely great, because that's, where it happens and kind of goes from there. So it's opened up to not only, the newbies, but I would imagine you probably get some older, operators in there as well, or people who've been on the air for some time and never thought about it, I would imagine.
It's funny because we say it's for intermediate class. We have people who come in who have still not made it through BC1, and that's fine, because what we do is we explain to them things that they are going to have to watch for, so they will feel more comfortable when it comes to that time. They'll already have the practice and know the tools. And then we get the experienced folks. And I love it when the experienced folks come, because then it's not just me. You're talking with different people and offering solutions. I take away as much as I give in these classes, sometimes more.
Oh,
so I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
We have regulars that show up all the time, whether they need to know it or not. Some have been coming for a long time. Then we have other folks who will pop in because a topic that I send out and say, hey, we're going to be talking about this topic this week.
So where do you find that? Where do you find that when you send it out? Is there a specific Dropbox or something where you send the topic subjects out and all that?
I send it in the Long Island CW Club groups I have.
Okay.
And I'll send it as a reminder, essential operating subjects, the date and the time. And we do have 2 sessions.
Okay.
We've got a Thursday morning session, a Thursday morning U.S. And we actually get a lot of Europeans who join that class because it's just evening for them. Yeah, if you think about it, it's at 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday morning, Eastern time, 9 o'clock for me.
Sure.
And, so it gives even folks on the Pacific Coast who are used to getting up early the chance to join. The folks from Europe, we regularly have attendees from England, a couple from Germany will pop in, a couple from France, and one from Greece will pop in periodically, although it's getting to be a little late at night in Greece, but it works well for them. We also offer a session on Monday evenings, U.S. time, and that starts at 9 o'clock Eastern time on Monday evenings.
And where are those, and is that on Zoom, I take it?
Yes, Zoom A.
So it's all of them are on Zoom A at this point.
Right.
Great.
Exactly.
Okay. So is there a common subject that you found over the years of doing this that usually pops up? Just curious.
Well, it's funny because the tools that are out there online, a lot of people know about them. They use them. Common threads lately over the last year, because I've been teaching this, I think, for about 4 years now under one name or another.
Okay.
And what I found is that people are interested in logging programs, spotters, how to find people.
Yeah.
And then just, sometimes there's a little bit of technical, how do they do this? Big hotspot lately has been POTA and different tools and different equipment. if somebody gets a new rig, they'll start talking about it. I just got a new Elecraft KH1 up in Hamvention.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Somebody always mentions the K1.
Of course, they
Or
all do.
KH1. And, different tools or tips and how to refine this, or, if you tweak on this will work better. So there's a lot of how-to versus the go out and practice.
Okay.
Not really. It's more about where to use these things.
Gotcha.
Okay. So a lot of interest in PODA, a lot of interest in QRP.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, I just sent out a list of various clubs that all have different QRP events.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We also talk about contesting, and not only the heavy duty, NCJ contests,
Sure.
or CWTs, which are the high-speed contests, but also state QSO parties, or K1USN SST that is geared toward speeds lower than 20 words a minute.
Sure.
And of course, I have to talk about SKCC because I've got a very close affiliation with
We've
them.
got a sprint coming up this weekend, don't we?
Yes, we do.
All right, I'm
Yes,
going to
we
try to
do.
get in the middle of that one as well. I've been with them for, I don't know, a long time. And I kind of go from there.
Maybe
So it's always
longer
fun.
than I have, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to make up for
Well,
lost
not
time.
quite, but okay. Well, Cathy, it sounds absolutely wonderful. What a great program to offer basically help to the newbies as well as the oldie guys or the people who have been around for some time. What a great resource! And again, why don't you give us the date or the times rather, and the Zoom again? What times are the classes?
Okay, both classes are in Zoom A.
Mm-hmm.
The Monday night class, because that's the beginning of the week,
Mm-hmm.
is Monday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
Okay.
Okay, and our classes tend to run over, so I've made a point of making sure that when we schedule these, there's no one after us.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds good.
So 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Mondays.
Okay.
And then Thursday mornings, 10 o'clock Eastern, also in Zoom A. The
Okay.
content is identical except for the conversations that might trigger something
Oh, sure.
else.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know, we
that's
start
the
out
beauty
talking
of
about
it.
one
Right.
thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Cathy, for taking time to talk to us about essential operating subjects. What a great program. And thank you so much. We'll maybe drop in and add a little bit of kibitz for fun.
Oh, that would be awesome. All right. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Duff.
Cathy.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
It's a brand new season, a brand new curriculum, and what has been a very successful, I think, LICW run with the BC series and the beginning carousel over there is taking on a kind of a new look in what we call the Project OverLearn, which is kind of interesting. And one of the heads over there, Ron, who's the BC lead, shall we say, KC2 PSA. And Ron, how are you going to integrate the new curriculum and the new Project OverLearn into the BC series? Could we?
Absolutely. Thank you, Duff. So what we're going to do with the Project OverLearn is to include more practice being able to go with the flow of the characters coming in. Mm-hmm. Our students are pretty good at hearing the single acoustic sounds and recognizing the characters. But when we switch from individual characters to words, that's where we get into trouble being able to go with the flow. So to give us some little bit of practice, more practice with the flow, we're going to include more exercises that include copying words. Mm-hmm. We've added some files with words that are 3 characters long to 5 characters long to have our students practice trying to copy those words and be able to practice going with the flow. We also included 2 new exercises that mimic what we do with the Project OverLearn bootcamp, in that we're going to hear the code at a faster speed to kind of force us to not be stuck on individual characters,
Correct.
but to go ahead and focus on keeping up with the flow of the code coming in. Mm-hmm. We're already underway with some of it. We've included the word exercise files in the Morse practice page already, and we updated our lesson plans to include that exercise.
Right.
Are going to go ahead and implement in the lesson plan the exercises from Project OverLearn too in a short while.
Right. I teach an intermediate 3 class, and Kasey basically is heading up the intermediate 1, which is the transition over there, Kasey. And so how do you view your part of the program? How's that going to happen?
Hi, Duff. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, so again, as you mentioned, the intermediate 1 is really where we exit coming through Ron's BC series, and students have a basic character foundation and recognition down, and now we start to get into conversational fluency and to go off with Ron's theme, going with the flow, being able to miss and continue going with the flow. So Ron and I are actually working on what we call bridge exercises. So again, students come into the intermediate 1 knowing characters, but sometimes struggle with putting those characters together, assembling them together into words, and using Morse code as a true flowing language.
Oh, sure.
So we have a lot of bridge exercises exiting Ron's BC curriculum into the intermediate 1, and they have already been starting to be placed onto the Morse practice page as well. So we've had great success with that, and again, more to come with OverLearn being integrated in all of the levels of the curriculum.
On the other side of the fence over there is the sending side. Don?
Hello, Duff, and thanks for doing this. Most of the magic is being made on the regular BC and intermediate courses that people attend, but sending is also the complement, as you referred to. And what we've done is go from a couple BC sending classes and a couple intermediate sending classes. We've now expanded it to where there's 4 levels of sending.
Wow, okay.
We've got BC Sending Basics, which is one of the ones I teach,
Sure.
and that is for brand new folks who don't even know which end of the key to hold sometimes. And then we go to a one that's more for the upper tier BC students. Maybe they're in BC 1 still, but BC 2, all the way through Intermediate 1, trying to get them to send with flow at 12 words per minute. Then we've added 2 new layers. We've added an Intermediate 1 to Intermediate 2, 12 to 16 words, where the instructors are going to try to get people sending with very smooth flow, up to 16 words a minute. And once they're there, we hope they go to the new Intermediate 3 to Advanced 1, which is going to be a wide gap of 16 to 25 words a minute. But anywhere in there is fair game, and people are going to learn at their own rate. And we hope this is going to complement all of the other classes that are incorporating Project OverLearn.
I think it's absolutely a fantastic program. What a follow through on the whole thing, from the very beginning all the way up to the advanced. I guess maybe even the advanced 2 or 3. As it moves along.
We are developing a Morse practice page user guide for our beginners curriculum students. And that will be uploaded to the Academic Downloads website as well, where they can download the document and be able to look at the different exercises, why we do the exercises the way we do them, and have links directly to the Morse practice page that sets up the exercise right away.
Yeah, that's becoming wildly popular and very, very effective, that's for sure. Anyway, thanks, gents. All right, I'll let you get on to it.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thanks, Duff. Take care.
And an official shout-out and thanks to Kasey, KD2YMM, Ron, KC2PSA, and Don, KC0DWZ. Thanks, guys. We appreciate your work. In a world saturated with digital encryption, the crackle of Morse code over shortwave frequencies offers a haunting reminder of a time when secrecy was analog, and every keystroke could tip the balance of war. On August 30th of this year, the Maritime Radio Historical Society, or MRHS, transformed coast station KPH into a living museum of cryptographic history, broadcasting a message encrypted with the legendary Enigma machine. This wasn't just a reenactment, it was a full-fledged cipher challenge inviting listeners to step into the shoes of wartime codebreakers. The broadcast simulated a 1939 intelligence scenario, a critical message intercepted from German forces, encrypted with Enigma, and partially obscured by a damaged codebook. Participants were given just enough clues to attempt decryption, echoing the real-life urgency faced by Allied cryptanalysts at Bletchley Park. The message header included a mock call sign and date, and the ciphertext was transmitted in both CW and RTTY. The goal? Decode the message before troop movements it described could unfold. Anyone with a shortwave receiver and decoding tools, from seasoned hams to curious newcomers, were welcome to give their try at decrypting Enigma's message. While some participants used replica Enigma machines, complete with rotors, plug boards, clacking keys, others turned to some digital simulators provided by the Maritime Radio Historical Society to some of these online tools and tutorials, ensuring accessibility for newcomers and veterans alike. The event bridged generations. Seasoned ham operators relived the thrill of wartime radio, while younger enthusiasts discovered the tactile beauty of analog encryption. Well, successful decoders received certificates of achievement, but the real prize, I think, was the camaraderie. Some even shared photos of their setups, wooden Enigma replicas beside glowing vacuum tube receivers, and the broadcast wasn't just a puzzle. It was really a celebration of curiosity, history, and the enduring allure of cracking a code. Well, the Enigma broadcast reminds us that cryptography isn't just math, it's storytelling. Each cipher carries a narrative of secrecy, urgency, and human ingenuity. And by reviving the legacy, KPH and MRHS didn't just honor the past, they invited us to participate in it. KPH repeats this exercise the end of August each year, from what I understand. And for more information, suggest you head on over to the Maritime Radio Historical Society website. Lots of great information over there for sure. I wasn't too successful in decoding in time. However, with a little perseverance and hair pulling, I did manage to get the message pulled out. Another look at the fascinating use in history of Morse code. Thanks for listening. This is LICW is produced by the Informational Services of the Long Island CW Club. Comments, questions may be made to WA7DFN at MSN.com. Thanks, everybody. Till next time, 73s.